Hi, Dave Littman, Truth in IT. Welcome to today's webcast, Exploring the Workplace of the Future. Today's webcast is sponsored by Cisco and Ubisec. Today's event will go probably about 45 minutes, and we'll be taking your questions and comments in the chat room. So please send those in, and someone from Ubisec or Cisco will answer your questions right away. So today I'm here with Ed Sohn. Ed is president and CTO of Ubisec. Hey, Ed.
How's it going, Dave?
It's going well. Great having you here today. Before I hand things over to Mike Matchett and his guests from Cisco, Ed, if you would, tell me a little bit about Ubisec, what you guys specialize in, where you're headquartered, your service area, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Ubisec, we've been in business since 2005, so we've weathered many different storms, and I like to think we've always tried to focus on staying at the forefront of really cutting edge infrastructure, cybersecurity technologies, and that's kind of been our game, so to speak, from the get-go. So yeah, we're a managed services provider, managed security services provider here in Southern California, servicing Orange County and surrounding counties.
Okay, cool. Well, being on the cutting edge of technology has probably been quite an asset for your clients. Where today's webcast is about hybrid work and the workplace of the future, especially. So, Ed, can you speak a little bit about how you and Ubisec have helped your clients leverage Cisco technology specifically to better adapt to today's remote workforce?
Yeah, we're totally as far as being able to deliver these remote services. So we've actually been doing this way before remote work has become kind of a household item from the pandemic. And we've been doing it probably since our inception in 2005, leveraging pretty much all of the Cisco technology stack, from AnyConnect and even Ubisec VPN client way before then. Cisco, in our opinion, kind of just leads the way. And I'm really excited about the solutions that Cisco has kind of acquired and developed over the past few years, including Cisco Duo. And then that coupled with what I call the trifecta, rounding out the trifecta of Cisco Umbrella, which incorporates DNS and web security. Really just powerful stuff that we leverage every day for providing solutions to our customers. And I think they love it. So.
Okay. All right. Dynamite. Ed, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I'm going to now hand things over to Mike Matchett. Mike is CEO and Principal Analyst with Small World Big Data, and he is standing by with Mike Brooks, Business Development Manager, and Kenny Yee, Solutions Architect, both with Cisco. So please keep your questions coming. We've got folks here from Ubisec to answer questions in the chat room, and Ed and I will be back to wrap things up after this. Mike?
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. We've got a lot to talk about today. Workplace of the future affects all of us. We're all looking at new and different places of working. Some of us are considering returning to the office. Some of us have been back in the office, and some of us are working partly at home and partly in the office and having a range of experiences that may or may not be working well for us. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Welcome, Mike. Welcome, Kenny.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. When we talk about hybrid work and the future of workplace and the different, I guess, patterns that we're going to look at today, what first comes to your mind?
Well, when I think of hybrid work, and it's a great question, by the way, the funny thing is hybrid work has been in the Cisco ecosystem for a long time. We've been well on our journey even before hybrid work was a thing, prior to the pandemic. Prime example, I've been with Cisco for 3.5 years, and I've never been in an office. I am completely remote, sitting at home, either in a basement, in my dining room today, with kids and interaction and dogs and mail people and everybody around, right? And you can see from this slide that for many years, we've been, 61% of our people don't need to be in an office. My manager's in Chicago. My other teammates are in Florida and in Colorado. I have to meet with different people in Europe or over in Asia Pacific, and I'm able to do that in that remote environment, utilizing the tools that I have in front of me. So Kenny, I'll let you comment. Did anything additional on that?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike, and great points. But I think a lot of us on this call today are road warriors, and I was, prior to COVID and the pandemic, I was on the road working anywhere, anytime, on multiple devices. So yeah, hybrid work has been long on its journey, and now since we're getting a little post-pandemic now, it's even taken more of a hold with more industries. So those that can work remote are definitely, seeing the benefits of being able to work remote.
So I've been working remote as well, probably since, for a decade before the pandemic. You could see this is my home office. But what do you think people find really attractive about working remote? And do you think a lot of people are going to stay in this hybrid space going forward?
Mike, well, for me, it's the flexibility of being able to actually work whenever I want. So it might break up my day doing some work in the morning and then coming back and doing some work in the evening. And then, for companies, it really expands that talent pool for them, because not only you're not limited to just a geographic region anymore for resources. So you're able to harness the best and brightest from not only nationally, but globally now.
I agree, Kenny. And I make a good point. Prior to working at Cisco, I was in the distribution channel, and I would get up every morning and drive and go sit in an office from 8 till 4:30 or 8 to 5 every single day. I would see all of my, counterparts inside the office, go out for lunch during the day. Since I've taken the Cisco position, I'm working from home. My work-life balance is so much better. I'm able to see my kids off in the morning to get them onto the bus for school and take them where they need to go. I can see my wife off in the morning. My wife and I can have lunch in the afternoon when she comes back home. So I have this more work-life balance, and it seems to be that is what every employee seems to be looking for a little bit more. The work will always be there, and now you have the ability to choose when you would want to do that work, right? Do it in the morning, afternoon, or the evening. It all depends. So that's one of the benefits that I'm seeing on my end.
When you look at hybrid work, the onrush of everyone becoming a hybrid worker, I guess we would say, we went from a time where you had a mobile phone, a laptop, and home internet or coffee house internet, and now people are kind of expecting a more consistent, robust work experience wherever they're at. To put it kindly, they want access to everything they have in the office wherever they're at, going anywhere. What does it take to put that together for a large enterprise or medium enterprise?
Mike, that's a great question. And it's, with Cisco, it's all about having equal access. And what I mean by that is that no matter where you're working, if it's in the office or if it's in a remote location, which could be in your house or it could be in a coffee shop or etc., you still want to have we have the technology at Cisco to be able to provide a high quality experience that's video enabled. And we've got a number of devices, which you'll see later on, that provide that equal access. So people can see the presentation, people can interact with folks very seamlessly, just as if they were live and in person. So it brings that hybrid work into a more rich experience than just just a standard video or standard telephone call.
And people are starting to expect this. I mean, they're demanding. They're coming to their companies and saying, if you want me to keep working and be super productive, you've got to do a couple things for me now. We're feeling some pull from the market side, the employee side, what are some of the things you hear from your customers about what they're being asked to do?
So Mike, it's interesting because now the employee has, kind of a little bit of an upper hand. They have more say in the job they're going to take and the tools that they need. And they like to bring their own device into the question or the equation as well. As you're seeing from, the comments on the slide here is that, we're looking at based on what the individual wants, where they want to work, if they're going to be on site, off site, or in a mixed mode, or moving between locations throughout the day. The WebEx application itself or the WebEx product itself provides that single application that allows us to do our job wherever we need to be. So I can meet, call, share, message, all on a single screen, and I can do it on any device. And the mobile experience for WebEx is just the same as it is on the device that we have or on your laptop. So if I happen to be in a coffee shop and I need to take a call and I want video enabled, I know that that experience on my phone is going to be the same as it is on my laptop or sitting in my home office. So that's the single thing. And, there's, a multitude of options that we have, but the single architecture that we provide from a Cisco standpoint. So we address, routing and switching, collaboration, security, and everything we do at once. And, this is what everybody seems to be demanding, and the employee has the upper hand. So we're excited about the opportunity.
And one comment I'd like to add too is that foundational to the applications for remote work, they're very secure. So security is paramount to the Cisco products, and it's foundational to WebEx. So that end-to-end security, no matter what device you're using, like Mike said, your BYOD devices, if they're running that WebEx application, that's all encrypted. So, it's something that has been a foundation of the application, and it's been a huge request out there from folks that are using it.
I'll say, so we have connectivity, access, performance, security, a lot of different things that we need to try to provide. At a business level, though, a lot of people looking at this hybrid work demand that's falling on them as an obligation or requirement. They're being really pushed to provide a lot of things and solve a lot of different, what we might call like business level concerns. For example, somebody might be saying, look, I'm concerned about productivity with my employee base. Can you help me keep productivity up? How do you talk to that?
My approach on that, Mike, is, it's different depending on who you're talking to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to throw this slide up here because what we're kind of being asked for in this motion all depends on who we're talking to inside the organization. Hybrid work is not a single line of business discussion anymore as it used to be. Before, we would go in and we would talk to an IT staff and we would say, look, here's our product. It's very easy to manage for you. And then that IT guy would go to a CIO or a CEO and have the discussion. They'd make a decision on the purchase or not. Now our conversations are extending to the CIO, CEO, the IT guy, but now we're actually going out to the worker, the frontline worker, an operations manager, HR, and even contact center in this portion. And to be honest with you, what the contact center person needs is different from what the HR manager is going to need. So the conversation takes a turn now, and we actually have to involve what these particular silos inside the business or areas of the business need. And like I said, we think and we believe that WebEx has that answer. Kenny, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so one thing that I'd like to add is that WebEx is a born in the cloud application. So we've looked at the personas of the employees or people that are using the hybrid work solutions. But from a deployment and administration perspective, since this is all cloud managed, cloud deployed, we get visibility and analytics out of the product to help the administrators and or partners such as yourself deploy the application. So just makes it so much easier for everybody from from users to administrators to access the application.
When you guys are talking to the market, to customers, to people who are looking for you for your insight and your consulting advice, they must get around to saying, okay, help me understand sort of the broad brush approach to doing this. What are some of the major steps or milestones that I have to look at to really deliver hybrid work functionality to my enterprise?
So the way that we look at it is we know hybrid work is a thing. Like I said, we've been doing it for a long time, and we know this is here to stay.
Mm.
We've kind of delivered this 4-step approach to our deliverable overall. First off is making a single application to get work done internally and externally, and keep keep the employee productivity up, as well as making the remote and hybrid work sustainable. We also realize that now we have to adapt our office to this particular motion of work as well. No longer do we have cubicle farms sitting inside the floor. Now we have individual meeting spaces where we have to come into and bring the employee into the office for them to meet where they want to. And it has to be able to be easy to manage all of the location, all of the people, and all of the devices that are now being brought into the environment. And then the fifth one that we kind of left off of here a little bit is obviously the security aspect,
Wow, okay.
making sure that the security portion of things ties into it. And it's not only security as far as the messaging in the meeting, but it's security of the employees, right? Walking into the new office and finding out how many rooms are available. Are we at capacity in a particular room? Is the room, what's, the percentage of people inside the space? Any COVID protocols that have to be brought into for safety regulations concerns as well. Those are all worked into the conversation now.
You talked about the fact that there's a lot of different stakeholders here, and so we want to bring these capabilities to wherever the worker is. Does this involve, when you go in to design this, then talking to each of those stakeholders and coming up with individual plans for each of them, or building a monolithic plan for the enterprise? How do you approach actually getting from A to B here?
It's all about the experience, and we want to take in and understand that experience for that end user. So no matter where they might be, if they're in a contact center, they're a factory worker, business operations, etc. So we want to ensure that we're providing that equal experience, but also customizing that experience so that everyone is able to essentially optimize their workflows. So does that require individual interactions? Does it, if we think about how work is actually done, workflows are before, during, and after meetings, right? So we require applications that help us plan our work, actually connect and do our work, then meet with folks and collaborate, and then follow up with that collaboration. And with WebEx, we have we've designed tools to essentially optimize their workflow. And then other things to take into mind too is work isn't just within one single entity. So it's not just within my organization. We do partnerships, when we're working with contractors, we're working with vendors. And how do we provide them access securely, and then also making sure that our data is not leaking out to, bad actors or so on, in keeping track of that? Well, with WebEx, we can do all of that within our single application. And Mike, I'll let you comment on that as well.
Yeah, Kenny, great points you bring in here, right? So I always like to give the example of a day in the life of Mike Brooks, just as an example. So my day starts at 9 o'clock, and I have a 9 o'clock meeting every day with my team. And it pretty much consists of Prior to that, I set up an invite directly inside the WebEx app. Everyone sees that invite and can easily click on it and join inside the WebEx app. We join in, we throw up an agenda throughout the day. Inside the WebEx tool itself, we can have a whiteboard session if we would like to talk about something, whatever project it is that we may be working on. And we whiteboard that session. And the great thing about it is it's not just Mike Brooks whiteboarding. Everybody on that particular call can join in on that whiteboard and add in what they would like to, and we have a conversation. When it's all said and done, we save that said whiteboard and we end our call. Afterwards, we follow up inside a dedicated space that we have, where we say, hey, thank you for joining today. Based on the agenda, here's a recording of the call, and I post the recording into the space. I post the whiteboard into the space. So anybody that couldn't attend can easily go in and see what took place throughout the day through the recording, and they can see the whiteboard. When they pull up the whiteboard, even after the meeting is over, they can annotate on that again. Say a particular person had an action item that we had listed, gave them. They can actually go into that whiteboard, annotate on the whiteboard, and repost it into the space saying, based on the action item that I had in the feedback, here's the updated slide or the updated whiteboard. So now the collaboration continues before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. And that continues throughout my entire day, right? Which is a great thing because I don't have to follow up with any particular person after the fact. The follow-up can be done inside the space. And if need be, I can type a quick message. And if I need to message somebody in the space, I can always escalate that to a call right within inside that space as well to get to an answer that I need. So as I said, that experience alone, and you notice one thing I didn't mention email, right? There was no email in that conversation. It was all done inside the WebEx app. I enjoy email just as much as everybody else, but I prefer my messages inside a space. And I can have that experience here at home, in the office, in the coffee shop, in a Target, in my car, wherever I want. I know I can have that experience, and it's going to be the same no matter how I look at it.
All right, so you can deliver a single application now that's robust enough, has enough features and functionalities to be tailored for lots of different business practices, I would say, or business silos and operations, and actually break down silos and bring people together. And I think the theme here is that's the same application you can deliver no matter where they are. So people can work in a consistent way regardless. But I think we touched a little bit, and Kenny, you touched on security a couple times, and you mentioned networking, Mike, and you mentioned some other things. So it's not just as easy from the IT side to say, hey, we just put up a single app and we're done, right? There's a few more moving parts that have to be coordinated here. Can you give us a little insight on what's happening behind the scenes?
What makes this all possible is that infrastructure. And that infrastructure playing very nicely with the applications, no matter where they're in the cloud or if they're on premise, that has to be secure. So we have to provide security from end to end. With WebEx, we're definitely doing that. But we know not everyone is going to have a full Cisco installation, right? So we play very nicely with other cloud vendor applications as well, like Office 365, like Google, like AWS, etc. So we have products that can help secure that infrastructure. And not only that, we can provide visibility and analytics. So when people are working remote and they might be having issues with connectivity or with their performance of the application, how does one troubleshoot that when they're remote? It's a lot easier when they're in the office and you own that local area network. But with people, all over the nation working from multiple places now, if they have a poor experience on that cloud-based application, how do you tell where that problem is? Is that problem within the server, within the service provider, etc.? Well, with Cisco and our full stack observability, we can see, we can help pinpoint the issues. Is it on that end user device? Is it within the transport with the service provider? or if it's within the application itself. We provide the visibility from end to end, even though you may not own that infrastructure or have any awareness about the transport. So, what makes it all possible is the strong ecosystem that we have available. And, a lot of it's built around the Cisco products.
All right, in a pretty wide variety of products. Looking at this just quickly, I see Umbrella and security products. I see the VPNs. I see Duo. I see, we were just talking about multi-factor authentication type things, and there's a whole bunch more here that gets into the networking side and connectivity and mobility too. So it thousand eyes, right? So you can see the monitoring that you're talking about is really some great stuff. I just want to remind our audience that there's a lot here. If you have any questions about this, there's the chat on the side here. Keep your questions coming. There's people standing by who can answer all your questions, and you can dive a little bit deeper than we can here on the show. Just ask the question over there. Let me turn now to sort of the other thing that we wanted to talk about today, away from technology a little bit, to how someone uses this technology and brings it into a space, because it's not as simple as hey, here's your laptop, go have it at the world, right? There's a lot of user experience that we want to design intentionally to foster productivity and foster collaboration and so on. So tell me a little bit about how Cisco moves from technology into helping customers design spaces for hybrid work.
Mike, it's a great question, and it is resonating more and more every single day as we're starting to reevaluate real estate inside particular offices, etc. So space design sets the tone inside an office when you walk in. Things that we really didn't take into consideration before. The ambience of a particular room, the surface of a particular object, our posture when we're inside a meeting, orientation inside, and all of those things take place. And as you can see from just a great picture that we have that's up on here, over on the right hand side, you have a WebEx board on the side with a little partition and a great space for 6 people to sit and have a conversation or a meeting. But not every meeting space is the same. And as you said, right here, our products aesthetically are pleasing and nice to look at, fit inside a particular space to what you, the partner or the end customer, want that room to be. And this is where we come into effect. We show the device inside a space, and we let the partner and the end customer decide which device that they really need in that particular space. Of course, we guide them along the way, right? What does your employee base look like? Are they mostly a small huddle group? Or do you need one particular office or one particular room where you need to have 7 to 10 people at a space every single time? So depending on what their environment looks like, what they're planning on doing in here, inside the spaces, we can provide a device and guidance to a room design depending on what they want to do. It's really up to them.
But it's not simply a matter of an interior designer saying, I'd like purple and I like boxes and I like, a certain aesthetic. You really have to consider the business that's going to happen there, right? You talked about whether they need a huddle or they need a larger room or that. So you have to look at the operational process, look at the technology, and come up with a good fit between those two. And I think that's where you guys can provide a lot of great advice based on your wide customer base, but also the knowledge you're specifically bringing to the table here. I said that. Do you find that it's important when you're designing spaces in office to ensure that the people at home who are attending are having also a consistent feeling or behavior of being there with the people that are there?
There's a couple of things that I wanted to mention is the technology within our products, within our endpoints. And I'll give you kind of a story here that happened last week. So I had one of our WebEx boards out in a conference environment, and large open room with hundreds of people in it. And I was called into a meeting and actually demonstrating the technology. So we were doing whiteboarding, and we had multiple people remote across the nation, and we were going back and forth and with the whiteboard. But again, it's a really loud environment because we're in this exhibit hall with hundreds of people. Now, with the WebEx board, they could hear me excellent because we have noise canceling technology in there, and the AI and machine learning was able to suppress that background noise and focus directly in on my voice. So the active speakers that were in front of that WebEx board, with that technology, was able to pick up my voice specifically out of all of the background noise and be able to essentially transmit that to the remote, all the remote users. So the technology like that is fantastic. We've standard office buildings, they're typically quiet, but what happens when you start deploying technology into exhibit halls? But beyond that, think about factory types of installations where people can only hear you, that have really loud background noises, and they can't hear very well. With the WebEx tech and the WebEx endpoint technology in it, and that background noise sound suppression, they're able to hear that. And maybe you might not hear the folks remotely because of the background noise, but we can turn on closed captioning, which is another feature that I turned on because it was hard for me to hear the remotes on the WebEx device as well. So, we can still communicate and collaborate using the WebEx technology, which was a fantastic demo for me.
All right, so that's interesting. You talked about noise cancellation, some adaptive technologies, things to help the technologies fit into different environments. Some might be noisier or crowded. And Cisco has a range of products and solutions for the company or partner to apply to many different use cases here.
Yeah, absolutely, right. And as Kenny said, that noise suppression and noise cancellation and all of those translation and things are built into the software and into the devices themselves. So we have a variety of different devices, and you have here seen in front of you are the ones that we have specifically for home use or office use. As you can see, I'm on the 730 headset here. It's white on the screen, black here. Small cameras and different devices to fit into different areas. The interesting thing here is, remember we talked about room design where we said colors and chairs and things work?
Mm-hmm.
All of our devices itself, like the Desk Mini, the Desk, and the Desk Pro, they come in colors. Right? So we're following that, is Apple ever wrong in anything that they do, right? They have different colors for anything, right? We are following that Apple motion. There's colors. So for a Desk Mini, if I have, let's say, a white kitchen, I have a white device. If my bedroom is green, I have a green device. I have red, I have blue, I have black, so that the device fits into the room to be aesthetically pleasing. So we enjoy going into that space to actually utilize that device. And then there's devices for the workplace, as we were talking about, right? Different rooms require a different device. One of the hot trends that's coming up is hot desking. If CEOs and owners no longer will have an office, they might come into their particular location and just want to be able to sit at a general desk, right? Hot desking, or I can come into an office and there are no desks available, but I can request a desk through our desk hub. And depending on their type of room, we have the regular desk, the Desk Pro, room bars, or the board series that Kenny was talking about. So a wide array of devices to fit in any type of environment.
So let's focus in on that a little bit. If I'm thinking about the new hybrid workspace, the new hybrid environment, it's not a lot of a cubicle farm anymore with one or two conference rooms. You mentioned huddle spaces. You mentioned some other kinds of things. What do we think about as far as the kinds of locations one should now be designing into the new hybrid work in workplace?
So let's take a look at our Singapore office, for example, on how we redesigned things to focus on the hybrid work. You'll notice back from 2017, we had about 100 collaboration spaces, 100 collaboration spaces, 100 video-enabled devices. We had 10% of our rooms overall were small in that 1 to 4 space, and 50% of the rooms inside the office were medium, where 5 to 10 people would meet. Between 2017 and 2019, we addressed the hybrid motion. You'll notice the difference in size of our small rooms. Our small rooms went from 10% to 73%, and our medium-sized rooms dropped down to 13%. So the overall impact of what we found out is that we increased the number of video-enabled devices that we had, we reduced our square footage inside that space, and we actually looked at or saved $2.5 million due to space optimization and reduce of square footage. And all of this came from the simple fact that hybrid work, that we are no longer going to be in the office 100%. And when we are, we're going to want to go into a small meeting space. It can be enclosed or not enclosed, with a video enabled device to have a conversation. So this is a great use case, and Kenny, I'll let you kind of take, another shot or add something onto this one as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. So, some of the features and benefits that we didn't even realize came with this solution. Well, one of them was this huge cost savings. But another one was being able to use the sensors that were in the endpoints to be able to simplify the rollout, maximize the usage of these rooms. Now, we know that, as the real estate gets smaller, the utilization is going to increase. And with that, and the challenges of being able to track people's location within the environment, and being able to reserve that room and start your meeting from a touchless perspective now, that's all taken into consideration with the WebEx application. The sensors in the WebEx devices can do monitoring of the room itself to make sure that we're not exceeding the capacity of that room. So in this, post-COVID, post-pandemic environment, and people still are, they still want to be respectful of people's personal space, we can make sure that those rooms are not overcrowded. We can integrate solutions so that we know when a room is being used or when it's available. And then we can also integrate the WebEx devices with environmental controls. So we can make sure that the room is at the correct temperature, at the correct humidity, to make sure that it's very comfortable for the users in those rooms. So all of these are benefits that we didn't even realize that we were achieving prior to the rollout of more WebEx devices.
Yeah, so you guys discovered as you were implementing this that you could solve a whole lot of workplace frustrations, right? You could get people to the meetings on time. You could give them means to be in the right place. You can give them means to collaborate better and to get together in a better way. I mean, it's almost as if when I go back to the office, I don't even expect to sit at a desk anymore. I expect to meet up with the people that I want to meet up with, and you can help make that happen more directly than me just wandering the hallway or going to get coffee and hoping I run into them, right? That's better scheduling. So let's talk about how the workplace transforms here then. If I bring in these smart technologies and some of the things, Kenny, you were talking about, how does the workplace get better for everyone?
So the workplace gets better for everyone because it's extremely collaborative. And, we know that we're in a hybrid environment. So no matter if you're in the office or if you're working remote, with the WebEx technology, we're able to share and collaborate no matter what kind of data we're talking about. And we're making that a comfortable type of experience as well. So again, with the ability to do that room booking of the rooms, making sure we're not exceeding capacity of those rooms, ensuring that environmentals are comfortable. And then we're showing for ROI, we're gathering the analytics. How many people are using video? We can apply, again, artificial intelligence and machine learning so that, people's names come up automatically. And then we're integrating that with our applications for that touchless environment. When people walk into that room with a WebEx device, they can start that room without having to touch anything on that desk and join that meeting. So we're making it seamless, we're making it easy, we're providing a comfort level for everyone, no matter if they're within the office or if they're remote.
So exactly, Kenny, you're exactly right. As we walk in, like I said, I have yet to go into an office and experience a lot of these features and functionalities myself, but I am extremely excited to, going inside an office looking for a desk before was a hassle. Now that I know that I can go in and kind of register a desk or book a desk or book a particular room, and I know that that room will be there, that I won't have to ask anybody to leave that particular room. Checking into the office, knowing exactly where I need to go. Now the office becomes pretty much an automated place to go. And the great thing about it is, like you said, I don't have to touch anything. I walk in with my laptop, it recognizes me inside the room. I can use the WebEx assistant that's built and say, hey, WebEx, launch my meeting, and it launches that meeting. And then utilize the additional spaces and things that I have inside the WebEx application itself to do additional follow-up for those meetings afterwards. So now the meeting experience becomes enjoyable, the environment is enjoyable, and the ability for me to get a room and book that room is enjoyable, and I can actually know that I'm going to be safe inside that location as well.
So just in this last part, we've introduced a lot of different facets of applying technology to solve really collaboration, productivity, security, but basically employee satisfaction and employee business achievement. Let me ask you, going sideways here, is Cisco doing this all themselves, or is there a robust local partner community that someone can engage with and maybe get more tailored or customized help to the business that they're running?
You're absolutely right. I mean, we know that we can't do this alone. There are a variety of applications and things that partners and end customers use that we still want them to be able to utilize those applications in the environment that we've created for them. We can easily bring those applications into the WebEx software itself, and they can be embedded in. And there's additional applications that we have embedded into WebEx itself. And any additional investment that you, the partner, the end customer has, we want to make sure that we interop with that investment as well, right? So as Kenny talked about earlier in the conversation, we know that there's going to be Google or Microsoft in those environments. We work in those environments and interop with that additional product. So any investment that you have now, you can keep and utilize. We'll work WebEx and additional applications into that mix for you.
So one thing I want to add is, we're looking at this from a end user experience. We know that everyone is going to have different needs. We have knowledge workers, we have contact center agents, we have those frontline workers, etc. Those stakeholders are requiring different needs, and it's not just all going to be Cisco, as we've learned in this talk today, but there's an entire ecosystem of applications to get work done and to get hybrid work done. And we rely on our channel partners to go to market as far as our business solutions and meeting the objectives of those stakeholders out there. Now, it could be that they have custom applications that they need an API written into. And this is really where the value add of our channel partnership is strengthened. And this is where they provide their services to help not only administrate and deploy these Cisco solutions, but ensure that they're meeting the overall goals and objectives to get work done.
Awesome. And just finally, let's bring it home for everyone. We talked about technologies. We talked about the hybrid work environment expanding, and that's what everyone's going to go to. We talked about design space. We talked about things. How would you sum this up for the folks watching today?
I'll just say this, is that hybrid is here to stay, and the workplace really hasn't changed. We're still going to connect. It's how we connect that has changed. We need to make sure that the way that we're collaborating and interacting with one another is seamless. And to be honest with you, don't underestimate the impact that a device or a piece of software makes in that particular environment. And, meeting itself is not going into a room, right? We're meeting here today and we're all in different environments, right? Meeting is an ecosystem. There's much more outside than just a simple application in the middle. You have to look at other things as well, right? And digital data is king, right? Analytics is king. And with WebEx, you're able to do all of these 4 things that we just talked about. And there's a lot to take into consideration. And we at Cisco are here to help and looking forward to moving you into the hybrid workplace.
If it's one thing that I got here, it's that there is a really tie-in between people and technology and process, and this is where it all comes together to make everyone effective and productive. Now I will turn this back over to Dave, but first, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
Thank you.
All right, take it away, Dave.
All right, Dynamite. The message we got loud and clear for all the end users to gain benefits of this great Cisco technology is really critical to have a local partner to rely on. So we're back here with Ed Sohn. Ed is president and CTO of Ubisec. Ed, can you talk a little bit about where folks can get more information about your company and Cisco solutions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think always an obvious starting place is our website. So ubisec.com, type it in your browser and you'll get straight to us. But always just feel free to hit our website first. We're on social media, obviously all the major platforms. But sign up for our newsletter, hit the contact us button. Somebody will reach out to you. We're happy to help.
All right, that sounds great. So I really want to thank Mike Matchett with Small World Big Data, Michael Brooks and Kenny Yee, both with Cisco, and of course, Ed Sohn with Ubisec. And I want to thank you all for coming today. I'm Dave Littman with Truth in IT. Take care, everyone. We want to wish you all a great day.